In Activity 8, From Liquid to Gas, students investigate the change in state of a liquid to a gas by observing that water evaporates into the air. They first infer that evaporation occurs when added heat raises the temperature of a liquid. Students define boiling point and add the concept of evaporation to the changing states chart. You will need the following materials from the kit: Activity Sheet 8, 1 ounce plastic cups, plain tumblers, 500 milliliter beaker, roll of masking tape, and a Celsius thermometer. You will also need to provide electric hot plate, lamps, optional, black felt tip marker, paper towels, and tap water. To prepare for Session 1, make a copy of Activity Sheet 8 for each student. Set up lamps to provide heat, or select a sunny windowsill or a warm spot in the classroom where students can place their 1 ounce cups undisturbed for 1 week. Fill each tumbler about 2/3 full with water. Each team of 2 will need a tumbler of water, 2 1 ounce plastic cups, 2 strips of masking tape, and several paper towels. To begin Session 1, review with the class the 2 previous states in which you observed water: solid ice and liquid water, or melted ice. Also review the other state of matter, gas, which you added to balloons in Activity 3. Ask students, what do you think you might need to do to a liquid to change it to a gas? Students may suggest adding heat to change a liquid to a gas. Accept all answers. Next, distribute the materials and have students use the masking tape to label their cups with their names. Instruct students to fill both of their 1 ounce plastic cups with 10 cubic centimeters of water from the tumbler. Encourage students to think about what would happen to the water in their cups if they place one cup under a lamp or in a sunny area, and another cup in a cooler place out of the light. Next, give each student a copy of Activity Sheet 8. Tell students to record their predictions for each day in the first 2 columns of the chart. Have each team place 1 cup in the coolest, darkest spot in the classroom, and the other cup under a lighted lamp or in a warm, sunny spot in the classroom. Then tell students that they will observe and record the water level in their cups every day for about a week, and remind them to record the measurements in cubic centimeters on their activity sheets. To prepare for Session 2, set up a hot plate with a beaker half full with 250 milliliters of water for a demonstration and place the thermometer in the water. Each team of 2 will need their 2 1 ounce cups of water and activity sheets from Session 1. To begin Session 2, discuss with the class what happened to the water in their cups. Students should have observed that the water gradually disappeared and that the water in the warm place disappeared faster than the water in the other cups. Ask the students, what happened to the water? Accept all ideas. Make sure to point out that both cups received heat. Then ask, where did the heat come from that heated the water in the cups out of the light? Students may recall that in the previous activity, ice melted from the heat in the air of the classroom. Next, define evaporation for the class as the change of state when a liquid becomes a gas, and explain that the more heat that is added to a liquid, the faster evaporation occurs. Then have students complete their activity sheets. Remind students that just as adding heat changes solid ice to liquid water, so too does adding heat change liquid water to a gas. Encourage students to realize that the liquid in all their cups eventually changed into water vapor, which consists of invisible, tiny bits of water suspended in the air. Next, set up a demonstration to show what happens when a lot of heat is added quickly to water. Place a thermometer in the beaker filled with 250 cc's of water and record the temperature. Since your beaker is marked in milliliters, you may want to point out to students that 1 cc equals 1 milliliter. Leave the thermometer in the water and place the beaker on the electric hot plate and begin to heat it. Every minute or so, read the temperature aloud to the class. When the water begins to boil, point out to students the bubbles that begin to rise rapidly to the surface. Let the water continue to boil away, remembering to occasionally read the temperature of the water aloud to the class. Next, ask students, what has happened to the temperature in the past few minutes? Students should realize that the temperature has stayed the same. Remove the beaker carefully from the hot plate, read the number at the water level, and share with the class how many cubic centimeters of water are left. Ask students, what happened to the rest of the water in the beaker? Students should say that the water evaporated and entered the air as water vapor. Then ask, what would happen if we let the water boil for a long time? Students should understand that if you let the water boil, it would eventually all evaporate. Explain that the boiling point of a substance is the temperature at which it begins to change state rapidly from a liquid to a gas. The temperature that stayed unchanged as the water boiled should be 100 degrees Celsius, which is also the boiling point of water. Explain that the boiling point is another characteristic property of a substance, and just as with melting points, boiling points can be used to distinguish between unknown substances. Finally, refer students to the changing states chart. Ask students, what can you add to the chart now? They should report that liquids evaporate and change state to become gases. Draw an arrow on the chart from liquid to gas and write evaporation above the arrow. Guide students to understand that in both boiling and melting, heat is absorbed to cause the change of state, and adding heat increases the rate of evaporation. To conclude the activity, remove and discard the tape from the cups. Rinse and dry all cups and the beaker, and return all materials to the kit. For science background, reinforcement activities, curriculum connections, and information about the Delta Science Reader, please consult your DSM Teacher's Guide.